Hey guys, today we are making a fantastic main course idea for New Year's Eve. It is my bouche à la reine with lobster. Now I have taken some liberties here with this classic French dish, which is typically made with chicken and mushroom. But I just think for New Year's Eve, there is nothing more festive than lobster, and it's really just as easy to make. Let me show you how to put it together. Now I'm going to show you how to make this dish if you wanted to prep it in advance. If you're just going to make it the day of, then certainly follow the recipe the way that it's written. But if you want to make it the day before, this is how you would do it. Step one is we are going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a skillet. And to that we're going to add 2 leeks, just the white parts at this point, that have been sliced into half moons. You can saute the leeks just until they're nice and fragrant and soft, and you're going to season with a little salt and pepper to taste. Then once they're done, you can transfer them to a bowl, allow them to cool, and then cover and refrigerate. Now the next thing we're gonna do is poach our lobster. Now I'm working with 3 fresh lobster tails that are about 4 ounces each. This recipe serves 4, and I tend to think you can get away with 3 lobster tails just because they are a little bit pricey. Plus you have the leeks and the cream that kind of fill out the meal. But if you really wanted to go all out, you could do 1 lobster tail per person. That would be a very generous and decadent thing to do. So you could do that. Then in a large stock pot, we're going to add the lobster tails flesh side down. And then to that, we're gonna add 4 cups of water, a half a cup of a dry white wine. I like the light French wines for something like this, so you could use a Muscadet or a Sancerre would be great. 4 slices of lemon. Then you're gonna take the green parts from our leeks and give them a rough chop and add those in as well. That's gonna add a really wonderful flavor to this. And then you also wanna add about 4 sprigs of fresh dill. And that's all you have to do. And then you're going to put the top on your pot and let that poach for about 5 to 7 minutes. And you'll know that they're done when the lobster tails turn a bright red. And when you lift them up and look at the flesh, it's nice and opaque. And you can take them out and allow them to cool. At this stage, you can turn off the heat and allow your pot to sit right there. Don't get rid of any of the ingredients because we are going to add the shells to it and turn it into a beautiful lobster broth, so just hang tight. Once your lobster tails are cool enough to handle, you can either crack them with your hands, or I like to use just a little seafood cracker, crack them in the middle, and then using a seafood fork or any kind of skinny fork you might have, go ahead and extract all of the meat. And you can put this all in a small bowl. Then go ahead and cover the lobster meat and put it in the fridge until ready to serve. Then you want to take those beautiful lobster shells and put them in our stock pot. And then we're going to put the lid on and let it go for another 5 to 10 minutes at a high heat. You probably want to just let it boil a little bit. And what that's going to do is take all of that flavor from those lobster shells and put it into our beautiful lobster broth. Then, once our lobster broth is ready to go, we are going to just take out all of the bigger pieces with some tongs and put it in a bowl. Then you're going to take a large sieve and put it over a 4-cup Pyrex pitcher. You're going to pour the broth through the sieve, and that will catch any of the sort of remaining particles. And then you'll be left with a beautiful lobster broth. Okay, so then you can cover your lobster broth and put that in the fridge until ready to serve. Okay, so the day of the party, here's what you're going to do. You want to be working with some store-bought puff pastry. Then you want to cut it into some rectangles, about 6 inches by 3.5. And then place it on a baking sheet lined with some parchment paper. And then you can go ahead with a fork and just prick it all the way around to allow the steam to escape as it bakes. Okay, so here's the fun part. So you can take out any cookie cutter you have that might have a seafood theme. So I'm using a lobster cookie cutter. I just thought that was so cute. And if you want to know where to get it, it's in my Amazon store, and I'll leave you a link in the description. Here's a tip for you. The puff pastry is a lot more elastic than pie dough. So it's really hard to get a clean cut with a cookie cutter if that puff pastry is too warm. It should really be kind of like semi-frozen. That's the best way to do it. And you'll see you'll end up with a nice clean cut. And if you're still struggling with it, you can just lift up the cookie cutter and then take a little paring knife and cut all the way around the border that the cookie cutter left your little shape there, and that will help release it. And then you're going to place your shape on your rectangle and then brush the whole thing with a beaten egg. And then you're going to bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18 to 20 minutes, just until that puff pastry is risen and golden brown. And then you can set that aside to cool while you prep the sauce. So then in a large skillet, you're going to melt 3 tablespoons of butter And then once it's foamy, you're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. And you can whisk that up until a nice paste forms, and you want to cook that for about a minute. Then we're going to add our lobster broth that we made yesterday. It should be about 2 cups. And then you just want to cook that until it starts to thicken. And then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of heavy cream and 1 tablespoon of white wine. And you can whisk that together. And then we also want to add the zest of 1 lemon, a tablespoon of freshly minced chives, and a teaspoon of freshly minced dill. And you can whisk that all up. There, now our base for our sauce is ready to go. And at this point, we want to add back in our leeks and our lobster meat. And then you can stir that up. And then at this point, you can check it for seasoning. I tend to feel that the leeks, because of the salt and pepper we put on them, add enough flavor, so you may not need to salt and pepper this, but you should taste it and see for yourself. Okay, so now here's how you plate it to make it look extra special. You're going to take your puff pastry rectangle, and they very easily will come apart, so that you just want them to split in the middle so that you have a top and a bottom. And then spoon in some of that beautiful lobster sauce. And then another thing I like to do is just dollop a few bits of lobster and the sauce kind of around the rectangle. And then place your little lid on top. And see how beautiful this is looking? And there you have it. You have got one delicious and festive looking main course for New Year's Eve. I hope you guys give this one a try and let me know what you think. And now that everybody has their holiday recipes, I feel better about taking a little bit of a vacation. So I am going to go take some time off with my family, and I will see you back here on January 12th when we will pick things up again. If I don't see all of you, I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and I hope all of your dishes come out perfect and delicious. Share them with me on social media. I always love to see what you guys come up with, and I'll see you back here in the new year. Until then, bye.